Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Zachary Dickinson here, and hope you all are having a wonderful weekend whenever you're watching this video. This will be coming out on Monday. We are now finishing off the MCU Infinity Saga series with one final video, and then some compilation videos will come out sometime soon to wrap it all up. So, what is this video? This is the MCU Infinity Saga was nearly perfect. It wasn't perfect, but it was almost there. Because nothing can ever really be perfect, but MCU Infinity Saga did this to make it this close to being that much perfect. So, what are we going to be discussing to break this all down? So, over the past 4 weeks, we have been discussing the Infinity Saga, divided by each phase and giving in-depth breakdowns on each individual film. And each movie got a couple of minutes of my thoughts and different factors variable into them. So to close this out, we'll be doing this video. I'll be showing why I think the Infinity Saga is almost perfect, and I'll be showing mostly good reasons, and I'll be showing one or two reasons of why it's not perfect. Why a bad reason as to why if they fixed this or did this or this, they could have made it perfect. So we'll be going over 5 things today. We'll be going over its continuity and how interconnected it is and how locked in it truly is, the legacy and aftermath of it, how good the character development is, and also the minor and major characters of their diversity of all the characters overall. And then finally, the one part that has a negative thing into it, the good versus the bad plot. I'll give an example for both. So, without further ado, that is what we'll be going over for this video. So, hope you like the video and subscribe. So, let's hop on into it. So, we will be starting this off with the theme that pretty much praised MCU throughout its first 11-year run of the Infinity Saga. And, well, that is its continuity and how interconnected each film interlapses with each other. We have multiple instances where in phase 1 we have Fury's Big Week, where Iron Man 2, Captain America getting out of the frost and coming into modern day 2011, 2012 US. And we also also that week in the same couple days, we also have Thor coming out and making his presence known in like Arizona or something. Then another time we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Civil War and other events happening at the same time. So in multiple instances, we have multiple movies happening at the same exact point or near the same exact point in time. Also, we have points where we have a sequel to a movie like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where it's basically a one-to-one exact sequel to where it's just a few months after Guardians 1, and it still takes place mostly right after Guardians 1. We also have a lot of the time where whatever movie's about to come out, we have a post-credit scene for that movie, and it's somewhat in a little bit way. It'll have the last post-credit scene, and it's connected to the very small marginal factor to the film you're watching right now. Like the fact that Iron Man 2 had a post-credit scene for Thor, where Coulson was in Iron Man 2, and he was in Thor as well. Hawkeye appeared in Thor. We have Black Widow appearing in Iron Man 2. So that's how the interconnectivity and the continuity kind of ramped up all throughout the Infinity Saga. We had a post-credit scene hyping up for the next film. And we also had probably a character or some aspect that's carrying over towards the beginning or early beginning of the next film, because the post-credit scene that appeared in Iron Man 2 for Thor appeared about 15 or so minutes into Thor, as Thor has to find himself and regain his honor to get Mjolnir back. Alright, so what do I mean by the legacy and aftermath of this? So, in and of itself, if the Marvel Cinematic Universe decided after Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home. If it decided, let's just end it all here, everyone would have went, all right, that was perfect. That was great. That was an 11-year run of near perfection at the end. So if they would have ended it, it would have been a very much satisfactory ending. But they didn't. So they went on to the multiverse saga. So that's what I mean by the legacy for the most part. Nearly every single of the original 6 Avengers either died or was not a factor anymore. We have Iron Man dead, Black Widow dead, Hulk not as powerful, literally nerfed because of the Infinity Gauntlet. Hawkeye lost his hearing already, nearly retired. Thor, he's still around, but he's older and depressed and fat. Iron Man, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Thor, Hulk. Oh, Cap. He's alive, technically speaking. He's not Captain. He went back in time to have fun with Peggy Carter. Then he came back, gave Sam the shield. And so that is why that's the legacy part. The aftermath. Spider-Man Far From Home, Avengers Endgame are the 2 movies that I would point to if you want to see the aftermath of some of the events of the MCU. Or just or just watch Spider-Man Homecoming as well, because that also deals with the aftermath of the Battle of New York. Watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to deal with the constant aftermath of the 2014 and 2015 Marvel movies and stuff like that. And so the aftermath of what I'm talking about here today is really Spider-Man Far From Home goes in depth, and also a few movies after the Infinity Saga, but we're not talking about that today. But Spider-Man Far From Home shows how Peter Parker is now dealing with the fact that his mentor died and is no longer around. But Peter doesn't know that his mentor basically sacrificed himself and went back in time for him. He doesn't know that. Oh, and and so Far From Home does that. We see an Endgame that Captain America has formed a support group for people who are still dealing 5 years later about the loss of their friends, family, loved ones that they just lost when they got dusted because Thanos won. Yeah, this is what happened when the bad guy actually won for a change. And so that is legacy and aftermath. So, character development. The defining factor of a good movie is, did the main characters develop or change and adapt to become better or worse? And, well, and also, how did the villain or the overall plot interact with them to help them to change? And so that's really mostly character development. Also, in these big cinematic universes, it could also mean over a span of a large universe in books, there's this one slow arching character development arc that the main character's going over. So these characters that appear in 10, 6, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, or even just one films, they have a character development arc. And so we see that prominently in every single franchise's movies. We see that in Captain America as he goes from this small little kid that has no way of getting into the military to he's buff now. And he has a way to fight it and stuff like that. Then he goes, oh, I just went into ICE for 80 years. Let's trust and then the one place he put his trust in falters. And then he has a falling out with some of his new friends. We have Iron Man, who initially, his boss or whatever that was in charge of his company tried to kill him. And so he made a suit. And then in Iron Man 2, he deals with the fact that he's probably gonna die because the thing that kind of replaced his heart is poisoning him. And then in Iron Man 3, we have the whole thing of someone tried to kill him at the beginning of the movie, and now he decides let's settle down, let's get rid of all these other suits, and let's just have one main suit that I'll have. We see it in Spider-Man where he goes through the depression of losing Tony, where he slowly develops into, in Homecoming, from a neighborhood friendly Spider Man to someone that can actually handle stuff on his own and doesn't need Iron Man to save him all the time. We see in Thor, he goes from a brat to a full blown adult that's capable of doing his own things. I can keep on going with this. Most of the Infinity Saga has a character, probably the titular character of the film, go through some type of character development arc. And Iron Man in the Spider Man film, in Homecoming, goes through his own arc as well, of slowly weaning off Peter Parker to have Peter Parker be his own individual. Stuff like that. And so many of these characters go through their own character development arcs, and they're most of the time very well executed. All right, so our fourth part is the diversity of all the characters. Most Through most of the MCU Infinity Saga, we don't really have a female lead for an MCU film, but we do have strong secondary females in nearly every film. We have Black Widow in the Avengers movie. We have a scientist in Age of Ultron. We have Mariah Hill in Far From Home, and at least one of the Avengers, and maybe even others. We have Pepper Potts in each of the Iron Man films. We have MJ and his first initial love interest, who I forget her name, from Homecoming, are also major female leads. So Captain Marvel may be the first one where it's entirely a woman leading the film, but that doesn't mean we haven't had wonderful females all throughout. In Since the beginning, we even have Sif through through the first two Thor movies. Then we had Valkyrie in Thor 3. We have Peggy Carter in the first Captain America. We have Black Widow in the second one. We have basically the Avengers all in and of itself in Captain America Civil War. It is very, very diverse and very well thought out. It's not as diverse as it is now, but in and of itself, for the beginning of the MCU, we had a very well diverse cast of individuals. We just didn't have a female led movie for a while. But that didn't stop them. So, it is very diverse of a cinematic universe, both the minor and major characters. Even though they're not in the title, Black Widow, Pepper Potts, Sif, and many other, and even Natalie Portman's character. What is it? Jane Foster. Even Jane Foster is one of the major characters, just not the titular character. You can be a major character and not be the main character. So we have many minor and major characters that are female. We have a couple minor and major characters that are black individuals that are African American. We have Black Panther, which is almost entirely just set in like Africa, and there's one white person in the whole film, pretty much. Well, two white people. One is Claw, who's a bad guy. The other is a government agent. That's it. We have other films that have more men, but still have a decent diverse cast as well. So what am I getting at? The MCU Infinity Saga is a very diverse cast, whether you're black, white, man, or woman. And even now, they are still giving their attempts to have women lead TV shows and movies. Now, what is a good versus bad plot? Okay, so quick and easy example of bad plot is Thor the Dark World. It had a good opening bit and a good beginning to have the potential for a good one, but the overall execution of the bad guy and the overall execution of the Reality Stone very much dipped and made it one of the worst MCU films of all time. Also, bad plot could be the fact that your film just doesn't even matter after like a few years. I'm talking about the Incredible Hulk. Good plot can be Avengers Infinity War, Endgame, Captain America Civil War. I would even throw in Iron Man 3, The Winter Soldier, First Avenger, Spider-Man Far From Home, many of the films have a good or even top tier plot. We have Winter Soldier of espionage, thriller, and stuff like that, and infiltration. We have First Avenger, a World War II movie. We have Civil War, infighting, and clans separating themselves from people because they can't settle to actually agree on one actual thing. We have the Avengers movie, which puts a large chunk of it with them being manipulated by the Space Stone or the Tesseract, where they can't really get along. Infinity War, this shows how in Civil War they all got separated. For the most part, it's not until Endgame where they're actually fully come back together. In Infinity War, they're all separated on these couple of different places, with the Guardians and Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Peter Parker. We have most of the people in Wakanda as well, and a few other places. So that is good versus bad plot. Bad Thor: The Dark World. Good most of the rest of the MCU. Bad plot. Captain Marvel. Good plot. Iron Man. Blah 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 blah. Literally most of the MCU. Alright, so that is the MCU Infinity Saga, and so we're now at the end of my breakdowns of the MCU Infinity Saga. What can we look for in the future with this, with Monday videos? So I'll be taking a break from the MCU for just next week, as we'll be going over every film or project of the DCEU ranked and explained. Then we'll jump back into the MCU. I would love to get into more DC content, but for most of this year, DC isn't here, and Marvel just has like 30, 40 projects overall. So I'm getting through Marvel, and then I'll get into DC. Sometime in the future, I'll get to a point where I've gone over all the different projects. We're in the whims of waiting before the next project comes out to have a couple of videos on it. I will then just start talking about various different characters in each universe. And so be looking forward to that. That'll probably happen sometime next year. And so today this video is releasing on Monday, March the 2nd. So the next video for this slot for Mondays will be the DCU ranked. Then we will have every season of Arrow ranked on March 4th. That's the video. Well, no, I lied. That's March 11th. The March 4th video will be Lincoln Lawyer Season 4. And then next on Saturday, we'll be having my thoughts on every Lee Strobel book that I've read so far. It's about 10 or so books. I read most of them last year, and I enjoyed most of them as well. They are all Christian book and heavily theological based to give you information on various topics as well. And so, without any further ado, I've kept you long enough. This is about a 20-ish minute video, maybe, something like that, maybe 18. So, hope you like the video to get it to show your appreciation that you like this video. Subscribe to get notified about future updates. Hit the notification bell after you subscribe. And comment below something you liked or didn't like about this video or the Infinity Saga. So, without any further ado, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.